Getting ready to step into your career era? Set yourself apart with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Hone your skills with apps like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, and more, powered with the latest in creative AI. Students save over 55% so you can build a portfolio you're proud of. Launch your future with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Visit adobe.com/students to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
Welcome to episode 72 of the Inside Job Boards and Recruitment Marketplaces podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Stephen Rothberg of College Recruiter, where we believe that every student and recent graduate deserves a great career and that it should be easy and inexpensive for employers to hire them. Think of us as an early career job search site meets global, meets programmatic, meets performance-based. So there's a lot of meaning going on there. My regular co-host, Peter Zollman of the AIM Group, is pretty much literally somewhere over the Atlantic, flying from Europe back to his home in Orlando. Hopefully it's not under too much water. They had a ton of rain over the last couple of days in Florida. But Peter and I interviewed a gentleman who also appears on your screen about a year and a half ago, Evan Herman. At the time, he was in talent acquisition at one of the big US banks. Since then, he has continued to do work on the recruiting TA side, but he also now does a whole lot of consulting work, advisory services for TA tech vendors. So Evan, hopefully that was a more or less accurate summary of kind of who the heck you are and what the heck you do. Anything you want to add to your description, your background?
Yeah, thanks. And that was really, really good. And the only thing I'll add is to be more specific. First off, we can now say who that bank was that I was working for at the time. It was Truist Bank. And I have a background in a variety of industries, but particularly in banking. I worked for PNC Bank for many years. I also worked for IBM. And I also, as we'll see as we talk today, have perspective on both sides of the recruiting spectrum. I began my career with Lucas Group, that's now part of Korn Ferry, on the agency side in Chicago before going in-house corporate. And so, and now I'm in the TA Tech universe as kind of a functional recruiter expert that helps them understand their customers better. And now here we are today.
Cool. So on if the job board industry was kind of a two-sided desk, you've been on all three sides of it.
Yeah, exactly. Very well put. I'm going to steal that.
Well, cool. So, when you and I were emailing a while back about, getting you back on the podcast, found a good day and time. One of the things that we talked about was that you were talking to me about how job boards, aka recruitment marketplaces, should maybe sell differently to staffing companies, recruitment agencies, executive search, call them what you will. Do you feel that job boards should sell differently to those kind of intermediary, or the recruitment agencies? Do they tell me at a high level what your thoughts are?
Yeah, absolutely. And right, just to be clear, to your audience, right, I'm here to just come from kind of the customer perspective. I'm not here to say you're doing it wrong, and I'm certainly not here to say change your entire business model. But I have been on the receiving end, I think, like almost all recruiting professionals, of some pitches that just didn't speak to me.
Yeah.
And the gist of it, and I'm sure your audience knows what I'm talking about, at its most basic, it's a lot of times it's like, oh, we can get you more candidates. Well, actually, I don't need more candidates. I actually just need one. If you got me that one, that's what I pay. That's what I'm willing to pay for, and I'm willing to pay a premium for that. Not if you send me 100 candidates and uh, zero or only one of them are relevant, you actually ironically just created more work for me.
Hmm. Yeah, because you've got to get rid of the 99. So if you're a job board or recruitment marketplace, and you're at 10 o'clock in the morning, you're going to be calling on a recruitment agency. What are their primary motives? Like you're always, when you're in sales, you really want to understand the problem that the customer might be trying to solve. For a typical recruitment agency, when they're talking to a job board, what problem is it that they're trying to solve?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I can just give a little background before directly answering
Sure.
your question. So as most of my career has been in recruiting has been in-house, I think it is important first, when you're going direct to employers, and the example I previously gave of like, I want one, and in-house recruiters, much more so than any third parties, namely staffing and executive recruiting agencies you might be selling to, in-house recruiting teams just care effective. They don't care how you do it. They don't care how you butcher the cow. They just want the cow, and um,
They want
and
they want the steak.
yeah,
They don't want the whole cow.
yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
They want what they want. They want it on their plate, and if
Okay.
you deliver like at a restaurant, they're willing to
Yeah.
pay a premium
Okay.
for that, and they don't want to have to worry about wasting their time and effort. They just want the good candidates, and they don't care how you go about doing them. They don't want 100 candidates. uh, and they just want exactly what they like, right? Maybe a few to obviously comparison shop, a few qualified candidates, and if that's all you deliver, but they're interested in hiring or at least interviewing those people, that's all they want and need, and they're willing to pay more for that than just paying for quantity, not quality. They're paying for you being effective for them, but they don't care how you go about it. Now, on the other side, whether you're a third party website and service provider like job boards, or a third party recruiting agency, for that reason, as your ultimate customer doesn't care how you go about it, they just care about the end results. You need to focus, for your own margins, need to focus tremendously on efficiency.
Hmm. Okay. And so I guess what I'm hearing is that for that staffing company recruitment agency, they would be ready, willing, and able to pay a higher fee to the job board.
What if I told you that your boss skydives, Tim in marketing is a magician, and Sam in accounting does sums in his head while standing on his hands? Seeing sides of the people you work with but never see, sides that inform and inspire their work and that can inspire yours, is what The Talent Show is all about. Email me, Tom Alexander, host of The Talent Show, at talentshow@backboneinc.com, and show us what you got. I look forward to seeing you on The Talent Show.
If the job board would sort of take on some of the work that agency would do, screening, selection. 100 people, 1,000 people see your job posting, 100 of them apply, but before we send over the applications to the agency, we're going to do some screening or selection, or maybe there'll be knockout questions or some other kind of qualifying so that the outsourced recruiter, the agency recruiter, doesn't have to go through 100 resumes. Maybe they only have to go through, like you said, 3 or 5 or 10. Some of them are fairly small, manageable, but every one of them meeting the agency's minimal qualifications, right? If you have to be a resident of a certain country, allowed to work there, you have this degree, this years of experience, you've sold that software, whatever those qualifiers are, they would pay a premium for that. That's kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Without devolving into rearrange your entire business model, develop entire new products. All I'm talking about is some slight pivots, and I'm not here to tell them what to do, but I imagine like, right, there's cheap, easy technology. So not about like, hey, don't hire like human recruiters. You don't have to have an agency plus a job board or anything too grandiose like that. But yeah, there's like now technologies that might enable you to use a bot to like pre-screen people, for example, the example you just gave, and right, knockout questions, things like that, that just like, hey, it's more, it's not about just where are the resumes, send us the resumes. That's not what, whether it's staffing firms, executive search firms, or direct in-house with in-house recruiting teams at employers, it's no longer enough to just send them resumes.
Okay. And then on the employer side, that you're working with a human resources manager, senior vice president of talent acquisition, kind of whoever, that person, if you're a job board and you're, emailing, texting, whatever, God forbid, actually like on the phone. I think those things still exist. With that customer, the problem that they're trying to solve, from what I'm hearing from you, is they want to keep that cost as low as possible, their cost as low as, but they don't care about the job board's cost, right? The efficiency is on their end, not on our end. And so in that case, they're going to want to sort of maximize the number of applications for whatever they're paying. Is that a fair summary? Obviously, loads of exceptions to that, but in general, is that your feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. Like on the particularly when you're talking about staffing firms versus executive search, agencies and third-party recruiting firms, there is an ancillary benefit to sending you more, at least as long as they're good, because it's not just one client and they're looking to build their database. And as most recruiting professionals know, one of the most time wasting and profit reducing activities we have to do is just obtaining people's contact info. And you give us their resume, you gave us their contact info, and they're a good candidate, maybe not for this one job right now, but now they're in our database and we don't have to pay for that or search for that contact info. You've just greatly helped with my recruiting desk's efficiency.
Okay. And I would think that would be especially true if that employer is hiring regularly, is hiring a lot of people, because you may have a candidate who applies for, say, a customer service role, but you can see that actually she's got the skills that you're looking for a sales role. And a good employer would then talk to that candidate and say, hey, I can see you applied for job A, customer service. Would you be interested in job B, sales? Maybe a higher pay, whatever that might be. I think we have time for one more question. If you're working with a job board, through your advisory services, or some other TA tech vendor, do you recommend to them that they literally offer different products, different pricing for the same product, different marketing materials, like a media kit, employer page on their website? Or should they keep all of that the same and then just change how they're literally talking and emailing with those two different customer groups?
Yeah, so with me, I'm really just stick to my background, which is as a functional. I speak for the regular recruiter and the larger audience. And then through that position is I have relationships with TA leaders. They're end buyers and decision makers, as well as the people, the regular recruiters and end users that influence the buyers and influence renewal decisions. When it comes to like the marketing material, that's outside my thing. I want to talk to people all day long and maybe write some blog posts. I'm not a marketing guy. I may make some general suggestions, like here's how to brand yourself. But in terms of like, yeah, put this on your website, that's that might be our mutual friend Jim Durbin.
but would you, if the job board came to you and says and they said, hey, we're selling a lot to the recruitment agencies, we're not able to break through to the employers, or the other way around. Would you be recommending to them at the high level to have different products, different pricing, different messaging, and then you might bring somebody else in for the actual wordsmithing? Is that?
Yeah, I got you. And sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because in my view, the short version of my answer is that effectively in-house recruiting versus external recruiting, even though they're both recruiting, it's like the difference between field hockey and ice hockey. They're both hockey, but at the end of the day, kind of lot of similarities. Both use sticks, but they're different sports. And so, therefore, your value proposition and your product and your pricing need to reflect that. And specifically, people are willing to pay for value. If you show value and like in-house, right? Like, hey, like I only need that one candidate. The value of helping me make that hire is this. I don't care how you went about it. That's the price. Whereas, yeah, in the agencies might be rely on like it's more pay as you go, kind of like, all right, show me what you got. I'm receiving good candidates. No, I'm not receiving good candidates. That's a different sport, a different game, different value proposition.
Cool. Well, as somebody who grew up in Canada and who lives in what some people would call the state of hockey, Minnesota, I can't thank you enough for the hockey reference. That was awesome. And I also thank you for understanding that field hockey is not hockey. And I think we just probably leave it there. Evan, it has been awesome getting together with you again. And, hopefully our paths don't have to wait another year and a half before crossing. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.